I'm back and really hoping that this recording is going to work because when I got back to my laptop, it said an error had occurred. So let's hope there's no, you know, let's hope there's no issues and that I'm not gonna. It'll be fine. Okay, last few then. What have we got? Um, okay, yeah, this is the last question. And I think this is actually a great question. So, looking at how to create a healthy life for my family, I've had lots of, I have lots of learned and built bad habits with food that I'm trying to unlearn. My life has been haunted by issues with food and weight. How can I ensure my son grows up without these issues? What advice can you give in relation to a healthy life? Um, who are you talking to? Oh, right, sorry. Distractions, ladies. Sorry. My husband's like doing a video of of where we're staying. Sorry. Right. Um, so this is a really tricky question to answer because everyone parents differently and has different values. But there's something that I just really would say to keep in mind, and that is, what kind of role model do you want to be for your children? How do you want, this is for everyone and specifically the person that asked the question, how do you want him to think about health? And what does that mean about how you talk about these things? I know for you specifically, you grow veg in your garden. What a great way to start. Like, this is what you know, we're growing and now we're going to cook it. Look, this meal we've made from our garden. Then think about what are the unhelpful things that you heard growing up and how can you approach those differently. So a classic example that I would say affects, I don't know, 90% of the women that I work with is when we grew up with parents that told us we couldn't leave the table unless we'd finished everything on our plate. And then we got, there are starving children in the world. You know what? Not finishing the food on your plate does not stop there being starving children in the world. You can't take that food, package it up, and send it to them. You eating the food does not, past your point of fullness, does not stop other people from being starving. So it's a really unhelpful thing that our parents used to say to us. And, you know, I think most of our parents used to say that to us. I'm really careful with what I say to Charlie around diet and weight loss, and specifically calling it fat loss actually, because of my job, but also because of my own history of dieting and the extremes that I went to. I don't want him to have those kinds of body images. And so I'm really clear when I talk to him about, I do call it fat loss, which I know I interchange fat and weight loss with you ladies all the time. The correct term is fat loss because I could stand on the scales tomorrow and be a completely different, weight to what I am today, based nothing to do, and that would be based on nothing to do with the amount of fat I'm carrying, would just be to do with what I've eaten in the last day, whether I've been to the toilet, whether I've exercised. I'm really clear with Charlie to talk about that. I'm really clear with him about why I exercise and why it's important. And I think just taking those really unhelpful beliefs and stories that you were told as a child and thinking about how you want to approach them differently and starting, set some family routines or boundaries or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. But, for example, us at home, 90% of the time we eat at the table without phones, without the TV on, mindfully, and we, converse across the dinner table rather than Charlie taking his food up to his bedroom and me and Tom sitting on the sofa, because meal times are really important and that is a huge part of enjoying your food. So what traditions, that's the word, what family traditions and norms and routines can you set around food and exercise and health, and why all of these things are important to help him really get to grips with that? And that goes the same for any of you. Um, you know, 99% of the women that I work with are mums, not all with young children, but we all want to be good role models. Yes, we want to get these results for ourselves, but my tagline is show up for you. And the reason I tell you to show up for you first is because until you show up for you, you can't show up for them at your best, and they won't get the best out of you. But here is where it's really key. You're showing up for them if you are helping them to to make those decisions as well. You know, one of the things that I have a really strong opinion on, and I always have done, and you know what, I've fallen out with friends over this, but my son has always eaten the same food as us at the same time at the same table. There was never any kids dinner time and adults dinner time. We eat together as a family because I don't, and I never gave him, you know, fish fingers and chips and beans while we were eating the chicken curry. Never. He always tried what we were having first. And I feel really strongly about that. And that might upset some of you listening because you might have that kids' tea time where, you know, the kids, maybe your kids are a bit fussy and they'll only eat nuggets, fish fingers, or pizza. But I firmly believe that kids should try things and they should keep trying them until they can distinctly say why they don't like something. I think one of the most helpful things my mum and dad taught us when we were growing up around food was you can't say you don't like something until you've tried it. And Charlie, I heard Charlie parroting that back to his 18-year-old cousin yesterday. You can't say you don't like it, Harry. You've never tried it. And, you know, that's my opinion and I'm happy with it. But what norms, routines, boundaries can you set around food for you and your family that will really help you to encourage the behaviours you want to see in your family and help them have healthy attitudes to food and exercise? But such a great question. I think that's a great place for us to stop. I now need to go closer to the Wi-Fi in the house and see if I can download these videos and upload them as a podcast. Wish me luck. If you're listening to this, I managed. If you're not, I'm crying somewhere. Anyway, have an awesome week, everyone. Great to speak to you from my sun lounger, and I'll see you later.